Is recognized.
I reserve.
The gentleman reserves.
I reserve.
The gentleman reserves.
All right.
The gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's remarkable that Republicans are getting behind the Child Deportation Act, a bill that would blow a $6.1 billion hole in our federal budget at the same time that they are finagling concern about the federal deficit. Today, the other side has said a lot about how the Biden administration is handling the ending of Title 42, but remarkably, not one of them acknowledged that they voted to lift it in February. Enactment of H.R. 2 would do nothing to keep fentanyl out of our communities or protect unaccompanied children. And just for the record, in our section of the bill, fentanyl is not even mentioned. So I would hope at some point the other two discussions tomorrow might talk a little more directly about fentanyl if it's in there. But it's not in our section at this point. For the record, the information that we have in terms of the 90% fentanyl comes from the chief of the Border Patrol. I mean, it's his information, so we can only take him at his word. Those 5 ports of entry that the chair talked about, that was not what he said. He said it was in Mexico, not in the U.S. in terms of being controlled by the cartels. I think we all will admit the cartels do not control the border within the boundaries of the United States. So it's a play on words, but at least we can be accurate with that. In terms of how we determine who comes and who's captured and how the fentanyl is collected, I suggest that you talk to the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, or DEA. They are the persons who interview the people who are caught at our ports of entry. And more importantly, most of the people that we catch at our ports of entry, they are American citizens. They're not, for the most part, immigrants or aliens or whatever you want to call them, trying to come into this country illegally. They are American citizens. In terms of guns, the cartels are a violent operation. There's no question about it. We need to do everything that we can to stop them. But we can't keep American guns from going to Mexico unless we come up with an enhanced policy to do that. We have to acknowledge that the majority of the guns that the cartels are using are coming from the United States. As the record will reflect, there's only one gun store in the entire country of Mexico. And it takes months for an individual even to get cleared to buy a gun. So we just want to keep the record to reflect the truth. Enactment of H.R. 2, as I said, would do nothing to keep fentanyl out of our communities or protect unaccompanied children. What it will do is penalize communities and religious organizations who care for vulnerable people. Section 115B is so broad that a nonprofit hospital that admits an undocumented migrant would be deemed as facilitating unlawful activity. Cartels and smugglers are chomping at the bits to see this bill enacted into law. H.R. 2 would create conditions where desperate people will be left with few options but to try and enter the U.S. illegally between ports of entry. It would be a boon for smugglers' illicit business. We should be coming together to enact sensible border and immigration policies that support our communities and economy. We can do better than the Child Deportation Act. With that, I urge a no vote on this extreme mega bill and yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman